Hello, welcome to this afternoon taste challenge. This is a later date because I know I'm going to need to skip some dates, but that's okay. It's all just how I do a, it's balancing act, in other words. So we have 2 Canadian whiskeys. We're getting through it. I think, include this one, I think I had 5 left. Unless I overlooked something. I don't think I did, but I've got Crown Royal. It's easier to pick this bottle up now since I've got a good 25% of it at least gone. Crown Royal Canadian, Crown Royal Fine Deluxe Canadian whiskey. Introduced in 1939. 80 proof, no age statement. Owned by Diageo since 2000. It's had 2 owners, Seagram's. It was Seagram's Crown Royal 1939 to 2000, and it's been Crown Royal owned by Diageo for the last 20 years. Okay. Triple J 1872 says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for watching. Wasn't planning on doing it today. Didn't really feel like doing it today. But then I said, work wasn't too hard. And we'll have time to do it. So here's Canadian Limited, the competitor, introduced in 1971. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. It's got this has a crown on the bottle cap, and then the crown on the pillow. It was made to honor the visit of King George the Sixth and his wife, or his consort, they say Queen Elizabeth. King George the Sixth, the king in Canada. And it was a popular, well, they made a lot of it, and it was popular, I suppose. So now it's just it was a specialty, then it just became a regular brand. They didn't start selling Crown Royal in the United States until 1964, just 56 years ago. You say, well, that's a long time ago. Yeah, it's older than me. It's probably older than you, but that 56 years is not a long time in the world of whiskey. That's like relatively new. But Canadian Limited, Canadian. Okay, Canadian Limited, Canadian. We get it. Canadian Limited. Limited. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. Bottled by Fleischmann Distilling Company. That's an old company, Fleischmann. Over Kentucky. Says produced in Canada, but it's bottled in Kentucky. There's a beaver chewing on a branch. There's a knight's helmet. A ribbon. 2 lions wearing crowns, holding up a shield that has 2 banners with showing 4 complete fleur-de-lis and 1 fleur-de-lis cut off, and then 2 crowns. So the kingdom, the crown for the realm of Canada, the kingdom, the constitutional monarchy, the fleur-de-lis, the French heritage, beavers, because there's a lot of beavers out in the woods up there. It's funny that they call it limited because it seems pretty common around here. $7.99 at Walmart was $7.42. But how that works. $7.42, and it was $7.49. Now it's crept up to $7.99. Crown Royal, it's kind of expensive, but I got this for $44.99 plus tax, of course, and 2 glasses, 2 nice Crown Royal glasses. This is made with 50 different whiskeys. It's blended with 50 different whiskeys. Most of which are probably invariably grain whiskey, grain spirits, and then the other 10, probably 40 grain whiskeys, and then 10 wheat whiskey, rye whiskeys, probably mostly rye whiskey, some malt whiskey. In Scotland, they call that single malt whiskey. Okay, now Canadian Limited. What are the natural flavors? We don't know. We'll never know. We think we know what we don't know, and we'll never know. But I have enough left for probably 2 more taste challenges. I would think so, yes. Typical Sazerac bottle with the lip. You say Sazerac, you said Fleischmann's. Yeah, I know. Guess who owns Fleischmann's? Says on the bottleneck. We love to hear from our customers. To give the Sazerac phone number, and then it says www.sazerac.com, limited@sazerac.com. Well, there you go. Nice that they have a phone number. I've called them a few times. They're very helpful. I'm going to read the comments, but look at the appearance. The Fleischmann's, or the Canadian Limited, is golden. And the Crown Royal is amber. It's darker. No age statement for either one. The minimum is 3 years for Canadian, so we know it's at least 3 years. Later on, I'll have to answer some comments. I get comments all during the day, and I try to keep up and answer them. Try to answer all good comments. All good comments. Whoa. Sloshed it out. Oh, good, on my hand, not on the table. I give people pretty wide latitude for comments, but you got some that, you know, they're trying to get thrown out the game. Let me get a towel. It did slosh on the table. Let's look at the comments. James Frias says, drinking a twisted tea to this there, Ron. Let's get it, brother. Can I have a shout out, please? You just did. You, Ron, let's get it. Ron, you my dog, homie. You throwing shade. I'm a good comment to Ron. No, I'm not talking about you because I hadn't even read the comments yet. I had a twisted tea raspberry the other day. I did a review. I hadn't posted it yet. First time I'd seen it, but apparently it's been on the market since 2011. Just hadn't seen it around here. D&D and Deadlift says day drinking. Woo, yep. You're putting a good dent in that bottle. I know, right? Because you know why? Because I have so many different Canadian whiskey brands that even doing a little bit, you know, just a little bit each day, then pretty soon, well, you've, like you said, put a huge dent in the bottle. Craig Swinson says, answering comments must be becoming a chore as your channel has become more popular over the years. My dog, yeah, the raspberry is good. It's a chore in a way because, you know, you got to do it, but it's nice because that's why I made the videos, so people could comment and we could talk about beer, because most people in my private life have no interest in beer, wine, and liquor aside from drinking it. Do you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like, they don't care about, oh, do you know that Schaefer Lager is the oldest lager in America? And Ballantine is the oldest ale? They don't know. They don't know, and furthermore, they don't care. But I got, with the internet, the World Wide Web, I found out that's an avenue to talk to people about common interests. That's why I started Alcohol Legs on Facebook, so we could talk about, well, you got it, alcohol, beer, wine, and liquor. That's working out very well for the most part. You run across some little bad apples, but not too much. Rock and Roll Club, we talk about rock music. Some people are a little confused about rock music. They think Charlie Pride is rock music. Other kind of country music is rock music. But but generally people have a good concept of it. And then one guy was like, well, I like country music. I was like, well, why don't you start a country music group? And then all the people who are interested in it could join it. But don't post country music songs in a rock and roll club or a Facebook group and then get upset because people don't like it. That's common sense. Okay, so yes, I don't mind the comments, Craig, and I like to answer them, and I usually find time during the day. Now, I might do it once a day and spend 20 minutes doing it. Occasionally, like I said, occasionally you get some people get thrown out the game, but it's like they're trying to get ejected. Like an umpire said, you can always tell, I was reading this in a baseball book. He said, you can pretty much tell when you're going to have to eject a manager. And it's usually when their discussion begins with you, the word you. He said, that's typically a sign that it's going to end in an ejection. And I find that on YouTube with comments. The ones that start with you, they usually don't end well. But you know, it takes intelligence to manage those. I've got that, so I'm able to manage it. 90% of the comments are good, constructive criticism, compliments, intelligent discussion, just generally pleasant people. And then the ones that aren't, they don't appear anymore. Okay. In other words, I wouldn't talk to people that way, so it works both ways. On alcohol eggs, I might say something like, oh yeah, I've had that beer. It was pretty good, you know. Now, if they push me on it, they'll say, you mean pretty good, like they had some problems with it? And I might say, yeah, it was kind of dull to me, but you know, it was mostly good. I wasn't dissatisfied with it. Something like that, you know. But comment like, you're so stupid. That's the worst beer in the world. That's trash. You know, I just delete those. I'm talking about in alcohol eggs or here. And usually those people that are doing those kind of things, they'll kind of disappear after a few days. You know what I'm saying? They'll take off because people don't want to hear it. And secondly, the comments aren't going to stay posted. So why waste time doing it? You know? Okay. Now, I had a few guys on there get into it with each other, but going back and forth. And then coming to me like, you need to do something. I was like, no. Looked like both of y'all wanted to be head high and big shot. So I'll let y'all battle it out. Don't come crying to me over it. You know, don't be Stretch Armstrong and alcohol eggs and then come crying to me because you got your feelings hurt. You know, because you were vicious. You hit me with a flower. All right. It happens every hour. Oh, honey, you were so vicious. All right. This smells so much like Canadian Limited in the sense that it smells just like Canadian Limited. Nutty aroma, walnuts, pecans, none of which contains the oil from those nuts. Oh, it's probably coming from white rum added to it. It's a weird thing. Like, you ever wanted to drink whiskey that smelled like nuts and some kind of sweet strangeness? Well, I guess that could work for you. And a lot of corn, sweet corn. Heck. Okay, over here, this smells like regular old fermented distilled grains, multi-grains. Yeah, that's right, multi-grain. Corn mostly, like I said, wheat, a lot of rye, and malt whiskey. Could Crown Royal contain flavorings also? Well, it could. They don't have to disclose that. It's not required unless it goes above a certain percentage and someone asks for a certificate. You know how that happens all the time. People want a certificate from the distiller. You can apply for that. But then the law is like, if you're an importer or a wholesaler, it's not like I'm Johnny off the street and I want a certificate. They'll tell you go enter a science project and, you know, a science fair, and you might win an honorary mention, but you're not going to get a certificate because you're just somebody off the street. This is obviously Crown Royal. Okay. Ron, you're killing it. You and Greg's beer reviews, baby. I'll listen to Greg's beer reviews quite a bit. Woot, whiskey time. I really enjoyed his channel, says Seth DeRusso. I don't want to alarm you, but I hear something. That is a fan, I believe. It's amazing that this microphone can pick up that fan just going crank, 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 crank. But if it's bothering people, I'll go turn it off. It does kind of swirl the air around a little bit, the ceiling fan. Still going strong, says DJ ED1296. Really get in there. I lived in Japan for a year, and they tax alcohol based on the malt content, so beer was crazy expensive. It was often cheaper to drink whiskey or wine. Yeah, right? Crazy the way they tax these things. What you gonna do about crazy? Well, thing about Canadian Limited. Ooh, I feel that burn. Ooh, wow, yowza. Thing about Canadian Limited, it's got a really strong, I don't know what that is, flavor with it. Is it cake, icing, frosting, nut oil, rum, brandy? I don't know. I can't place it. It's so weird. It's some secret formula, I'm sure, but it's natural flavors, so it's not artificial flavor, but it's some secret thing you'll never find out. I've had people say, well, I know what it is. And I say, how you got that information? Oh, I worked in the industry. That's not exactly official documentation. You know, so I got to have a little. Now, if somebody could provide me with actual documentation of what's in Canadian Limited, been on the market 49 years, I'd love that. But I got to have more than I knew a guy who knew a guy. Ain't going to work. I had a horse once in Coney Island. She got hit by a car. I don't know. So anyway. Really classic whiskey flavor here. It's sort of like a shiny flavor. You say shiny, that makes a lot of sense. No, I just like it's very I don't need to close my eyes now anyway. Very corny, corn grain, classic, just standard whiskey taste. So it's like a prototype. Like if somebody said, man, let me tell you something. I ain't never tried whiskey in my whole life, but I'm looking to do it, eh? You could say, well, you've never had whiskey? No, but I'm looking to do it, eh? You could say, well, I'll tell you what. Try this stuff. This is sort of like a standard, a baseline. And they might try it and say either, Oh boy, let me tell you, that's a great stuff there. I'm gonna buy some more of it. Or they might say, gee, I don't know what to think. Maybe I like it and maybe I don't like it. I have to think more about it. Third option, they might say, oh, by golly, that's the worst stuff I ever tasted in my life. Oh boy, I don't think I'll ever want to drink another whiskey, eh? Either way that goes, you got 3 branches off the road. It's still a baseline. More than likely, they'd do the first option. They'd say they find it interesting and they would explore further. Man, I wouldn't live in Japan if I couldn't afford beer. Right. And it's too cold over there. I have a good one for tonight, just for you and Dave. Oh, yeah? Dave? There's a lot of Daves, so I'm not sure who you're talking about. DJED1296. Ron, you ever been to Minneapolis? Yeah, I have been by at least 4 times. Once just driving through, but once to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome to watch the Twins, and I caught the flu that day. I felt so sick of that game. Oh, I felt so bad. But I didn't wear a mask. And then I went back twice. Oh, I went to the Metrodome twice. Excuse me. I went to the Metrodome twice. Then I watched Videodrome. But I went to the Metrodome twice, and then I went to Target Field once. We got a brewery on every block and decent pilsners and lagers if you aren't into the fancy or the schmancy. Yeah, I bought that Goldie Light, which in 2010 they were drinking that at every bar. Give me a Goldie Light. Let's go get some tacos and drink some Goldie Light. But I got the Michelob Golden Draft regular one, the blue label. Yeah, there's a new label I got to get for my collection, but I'm not driving to Minneapolis to get it. Michelob Golden Draft 4.6. Can't get it here, but you can get it there. I got it on draft at the dang brewery in Missouri once, St. Louis. Michelob Golden Draft Light, I believe it was. And then I asked the lady, I said, can you buy it around here? Oh, no, it's not sold in St. Louis. She says, we just have it on draft because we make it here. I said, okay. You had Grain Belt. That's Minnesota's working man's beer. Yes, I had Grain Belt. The first time I bought Grain Belt was in 1996 on that first Minnesota thing. I liked it. I had bottles, a 6-pack of bottles. Then later on, years later, someone sent me some in cans, and it was like it wasn't as good anymore. Like it had gone down. It got bought out by somebody. I didn't find it was as good. And it was a different Grain Belt, the Northeast, I think it was called. Nordwest, I don't remember, but I wasn't super thrilled. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't as delicious as the Grain Belt I had in 96. There was one I bought called Pig's Eye. It was from St. Paul, I think. That was the original name of the town, I think, Pig's Eye. And it was a craft beer. I bought it here, but it was made in Minnesota. And that was a good one. And there was another one called Twin Cities, I think. I have a can of it made by Minnesota Brewing. They went out of business, but it was another working class beer. I think it was called Twin Cities beer. I have a can. I could find it if I needed to. Which one tastes better? We got to get off this. We got to get off this air. Now remember, $7.99 a bottle for Canadian Limited versus $22.99 for Crown Royal. That's if you're lucky. Am I tasting a $15 difference? No. I think Crown Royal is better. It's a better whiskey, but I wouldn't pay $15 more. You might, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't pay $15 more, but I mean, it's a little bit better. It's worth some more dollars. It's worth some more dollars. But $15 a bottle? I don't see it. Now, am I drinking Canadian Limited talking about how fabulous it is? No, but it is pretty dang good. I got to admit, like my friend David gave it one little sip and he was like, oh, it's terrible. It tastes like black licorice. I was shaking my head like black licorice. Okay, it does kind of taste like that. But I was like, okay. They had the big handle bottles at international market for $10.99. But you know, that didn't last long. People blew that. They blew up that pallet. That stuff was gone faster than you could say Jack Sprat could eat no fat and his wife could eat no lean, but betwixt the two of them, they licked the platter clean. Anyway, so Crown Royal wins in the sense that it tastes better. Cleaner, more balanced, more nicer, just a better product. I mean, you know, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But when you look at the pocketbook, the wallet, the purse, I don't know about that. I do know about that. There's no way it's $15 better. I'm sorry, it's just not. Now let's look at the comments. Basically our Yingling. They aren't bottling it in the same place. I know because it's all office space now. Long time caller, first time listener, says Chris Dickey. Ron, you are relentless. My beer sage since 2014. Archivist extraordinaire, expansive wardrobe. There are words that describe, these are words that describe Ronald. Oh, thank you. Some people use other words, but I wouldn't dare repeat them. They don't sound very nice. Ronald Sutton, your friend from New Orleans. Oh, David. Oh, okay. Thank you. You had Nika whiskey? I had one of them, yeah. I liked it. My friend David said he didn't like it. He thought it was way overpriced. I said, well, you paid $60 for it? Yeah. He said, yeah, I'm not buying any more Japanese whiskey. You remember a beer you drank in 1996? I don't remember the ones I drank this morning. Oh, yeah? Well, I remember all the beers I've drunk since 96, pretty much. Sup, Ron? Just drank a Natural Father, says Justin Hopkins. Natural Father. Well, I can tolerate about one a year. One a year is enough for me. Man, I thought Zapardo's, they had 12 packs of Hurricane High Gravity. 12 packs, Hurricane High Gravity. But I wouldn't have paid $10.99 for it. Or was it $11.99? But it's 8.1. It'll get you blasted, you know. I used to buy that. Yeah, I used to buy Hurricane High Gravity 12 packs right there at Winn-Dixie until 2005. Well, that's the year it came out. But I was buying it, and then I said, I'm not going to drink it anymore. It's too, like, chewy. You know, I was drinking it. I said, this beer is like eating a beer. I would sip on it while I was reading National Geographic magazine because I wanted to read every Geographic magazine I own because I have every issue from 1923 to 2017 when I stopped getting it. So I was reading 1923, 24, 25, all that. So I would sit there and read that articles, and then I would sip on that beer. But one day I was sipping on it. I said, that stuff's, it's like eating it. You could chew it. I stopped buying it. But you know how much it used to cost in 2005? Hurricane High Gravity? It was $3.99 a 12-pack. True story. $3.99 a 12-pack. I was buying the fool out of it for a while, but then it was too strong. I could get Schaefer for $3.99. That was milder. I would get Schaefer for $3.99. But that wasn't in 2005. We hadn't gotten Schaefer since 1999. Voltron, Defender of the Universe, says, hey again. Hey again to you. Do you feel that all Japanese beers taste the same? No, I don't feel that. Maybe my palate isn't all that refined, but Kirin, Sapporo, Asahi, Suntory all taste the same to me. Well, I find it tastes very similar, but I wouldn't say the same. Well, I got to get off of this. Howdy, you. Howdy. Ron says, Ronnie S. Hey, Ronnie, I hope you join Wildcard Wednesday tonight. Well, anyway, that's it. I'm going to look at this whiskey. If it says Crown Royal, I'm going to feel like the fool of the internet, but I know it won't. Ha, ha, ha. It's not Crown Royal. This is Crown Royal. CR. Guess you can see that. Okay. Every day I say I'm going to check my stats and see how many it is, and I keep forgetting. I was thinking about that at work. I say every day I say I'm going to check the stats, and I forget. But I think it's 11 out of 12 correct so far now. 11 out of 12 right. I got it wrong one time. One time I got Crown Royal wrong. But 11 out of 12 times I guessed Crown Royal correctly against the competition. Is it better than the competition? Yes, generally it is. But like I say, the price doesn't justify it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could live with a lot of these other ones because I'm only paying $7.99 or $8.99 or $9.99. Now, if you want to pay $22.99 or $23.99 for Crown Royal, you got your little velvet bag, go ahead. Doesn't make any difference to me, especially since I'm not buying it. But I'm not going to do it. But y'all know I wanted to buy Crown Royal for so long. I should have started with it first. Like, why did I wait 4 years to do it? I should have had it first. But I just screwed up, I guess. Am I a fan of hams? I'm not exactly a fan of hams. I like it. I think it's good. I can't get it anyway. The stores that sell it, it's always out of date. They can't get rid of it. It's not popular in Louisiana. They started selling it here about 3 years ago, and it just bombed, you know. So, but I mean, what do you expect? The Miller distributors here do nothing to promote a product. They just stick it out there and say, if it sells, good. If it doesn't, we can get rid of it. That's their marketing strategy. I did prefer Ham's Golden Draft, previously known as Genuine Draft, but Miller told them better cool it on that. They had to change the name to Golden Draft. Then Miller bought it and got rid of it. But that was really good. The Golden Draft, Ham's Golden Draft, that was one I liked. You could get it in the Chicago area for $2.99 a six-pack. Of course, that's 12 years ago. Oh, here's Nina Yordi. She says, Ford LTD, possibly built in Canada too. Yeah, some of them, I think. We had a Ford LTD. Can't remember Crown Royal's taste. That lacking purity of Canadian whiskey scares me. Well, they're pure in the sense that all the ingredients are natural. All right. But they're not pure in the sense that it's just grain. In other words, they'll add rum, brandy, wine, sherry wine. Who knows what other kind of wine? So yeah, it's impure in that sense. But all those products are pure on their own. But you might argue, well, they're cheating to achieve a flavor. Okay. However you want to look at it. Okay, I'm ready for the Wednesday antics, says Ronnie S. Nina likes hams, I know. Vote says, hey, brother, hope everything is good. My uncle used to drink Canadian Limited. God rest his soul. He said it was his favorite. He had a funny thing about it. Limited means long-term disability. I can hear him laughing now. Yeah. Wednesday Addams. Oh, yeah, right. And then she did the little dance with the with Lurch, excuse me. Thing couldn't dance, he was just a hand. You could do the hand jive, but with Lurch. That was pretty cool the way she was dancing like that. Kind of real 60s. They should have had the Mamas and the Papas playing. Hams had the commercials of a kid's breakfast cereal. Yeah, well, cousin it. Yeah, no, he didn't dance with her. All right, so that's it. Enough. 34 minutes, too long for this. So Canadian Limited loses, but it didn't lose too bad. I read Prince's favorite drink was port wine. Wonder what it was. Uncle Fester. Okay, well, enough of that. I said I'm out of here. Bye, everybody. So long, everybody.